Hi, my name is Mike Simmons. I'm a real estate investor from Michigan, and this is the seven figure flipping question and answer. Okay, first question. Here we go. Is it a good idea to partner with someone to try to grow your business? Okay, great question. I have a lot of thoughts about this, and I'm going to try to get all the stuff I want to say in the amount of time that I have. Is it a good idea to partner? It can be, but a lot of times it's not. Most people partner for the wrong reasons. They partner because maybe they're lonely in their business. They want someone to bounce ideas off of. They want someone to sort of be in the trenches with them, or maybe they're missing something in their business. There's a certain skill set that they need in their business, and so a lot of people think partnering is the way to get that skill set in, but I say a lot of times when you think you might want to partner, what you really need to do is hire somebody. If you're not great at sales and you're like, I'm going to partner with a great salesperson, that's not always the best idea. Sometimes just hire a salesperson, bring a salesperson in and pay them, and they're an employee of the company, but they don't have to be half owner just because you're missing a skill set. And so be really, really careful. There's a couple of key things that you have to consider when you're thinking about partnering. One of them is skill set. Like I said, what is that skill set? If you're a great salesperson, you don't need a second great salesperson. You need someone who complements your skills. So if you're great at sales, but maybe you're not great at finance and you're not great at like tracking numbers and some of that detail work that is involved in every business, then maybe if you're going to partner, consider someone who has an opposite skill set, someone who complements you. They're not great at what you do. They're great at what you're not great at, and you're great at what they're not great at. And that makes for a good partnership. Another thing to consider are long-term goals. If together, when you come together with someone, a lot of times the short-term goals are in alignment, and it seems like you make assumptions that the long-term goals are in alignment. So for example, you may get together with your partner and you say, let's just blow this business up. Let's quit our jobs and make a ton of money, right? Sounds great in the beginning. You're all going to be going in the same direction. But if your partner, what they mean by blowing it up and making a ton of money is they get the company to $1 million and then they want to level off. They want to put it on cruise control and stay right there. But to you, blowing it up and making a ton of money is like a $10 million, a $20 million business. And so when you get to that million, your partner is going to go, hey, let's just kind of put it on cruise control. And you're going to go, no, we want 10, 20 million, right? We want to blow this thing up. They're going to say, no, blowing it up for me meant get to $1 million. So having those discussions about long-term goals are really, really important so that you don't think that you're going in the same direction and then ultimately realize you had two different ideas of what the end game was going to be. Okay, so skill set, long-term planning. Another one is risk tolerance, right? What is the risk tolerance of you and your partner? If you're super conservative and every decision you make is super calculated and you're very careful and you don't want to make big mistakes, and your partner's like pushing the chips in on every single decision all the time, that's going to be a huge problem. At some point, you guys are going to butt heads, and your partner's going to be saying, "Come on, let's do it. It's a huge risk, I know, but I want to do it. It'll be awesome." And you're saying, "No, I don't want to do that. It doesn't sound like a good idea to me." That's something you have to consider because eventually you'll be at odds. And then the last thing is just work ethic. Like, are you someone who puts in 12 hours a day and your partner only puts in 4 or 5 hours? Or is it the opposite? You only want to put in 4 or 5 hours. You've got things going on or a lifestyle that you want to maintain, and they're putting in 12 hours. At some point, whoever's putting in more hours will become frustrated and there'll be resentment. And so all 4 of these things that I just talked about, all 4 of them need to be in alignment. You must 100% check the box on all 4 of those, or there's a really good chance that your partnership is not going to work. And so really look at those things and make sure you've 100% nailed them and really, really consider those. And honestly, before you partner with anybody, I consider just working with them for a while. Work with them on a few projects, on a few flips, or whatever your business looks like. Just work with them for maybe 4, 6, 8 months. And just make sure you guys are all on the same page that whole time and there's no obvious red flags, because partnering is usually not the right move. It can be great and it can help grow your business exponentially, but don't go too quickly into a partnership. Don't go too quickly into giving up half your business. You maybe just could hire someone and fulfill the same role. So be careful and good luck to you. Okay, next question. Can a realtor be involved in a wholesale deal? Can they be involved? They can, but it's super rare. It's not normal for a realtor to be involved in a wholesale deal because you don't need them. Typically, as a wholesaler, we're going direct to the seller. We're either sending them a letter, a postcard, we're cold calling them, we're sending them text message, whatever. Like whatever we're doing, we're reaching out directly to them, and there's no realtor needed in that scenario. And then as the wholesaler, when I sell that contract or when I assign that contract to the end buyer, there's definitely no realtor involved there. I don't need a realtor to represent me, and the buyer doesn't need a realtor for them. And so there's no realtor on that side of it. And on the front end, like I said with the seller, again, no reason for a realtor unless you're buying it off the MLS. But most wholesalers, myself included, we don't buy properties off the MLS, like almost never. Rarely, if ever, do you do that for a lot of reasons. Number one, realtors rarely understand the wholesale process. Rarely. It's usually a big hassle to work with them in that capacity. But more to the point, and the bigger reasons why we don't buy off the MLS is typically the price point's not right. Someone on the MLS, really, a lot of times the house doesn't need a lot, or it's priced at retail pricing instead of wholesale pricing. And so we can't get it at enough of a discount for it to make sense. And so because we're not buying off the MLS as wholesalers very often, there's very little reason for a realtor to be involved. Now, the only time where a realtor might be involved is if the seller has a friend, a brother, a cousin, a neighbor who's a realtor who they want to have involved because maybe they trust that person or they just feel more comfortable with that. And that's fine. But the seller definitely will have to pay that realtor a commission if they expect one. That's on the realtor to do that, or on the seller to do that, which is typical, right? Typically, the sellers are the ones who pay the realtors. But in a wholesale deal, we have zero reason to have a realtor involved. But if they want one, they can pay them a commission or not. And we'll work with realtors in that capacity. And sometimes we do that. Or, if the house had previously been on the MLS and the realtor is still kind of involved, even though it's not on the MLS, we'll deal with them then. But a realtor really, we typically do about 100 deals a year in my business. And of those 100 deals, I'll bet you we deal with a realtor maybe 3 or 4 times, but very rarely. It's just not normal for us to have a realtor in that transaction. So to answer the question, can they be? They can be, but it's out of the norm. It's very highly unlikely and unusual for a realtor to need to be involved unless the seller specifically brings them in from the outside and says, I want you to be involved. I want to help me negotiate or whatever. But realtors are typically not involved in a wholesale transaction. All right, guys, that's it for today. I had a blast being here with you. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed yourself as well. If you have any comments on anything that I said, or you just like to add to the discussion, please comment below. We'd love to hear from you. And hey, while you're here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Why not? You're here. Go and click that button, subscribe. We would absolutely appreciate it. Also, follow 7-Figure Flipping on social media. You can check us out wherever you do your social media stuff. Will be there for you too. Go and follow us. And if you have any questions you'd like to submit, go down into the comments. We have a link. You can click on it. We will answer your questions. We can't help you if we don't hear from you. So go click on that link. Ask away. We want to answer your questions. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, go out there and get after it.